Good evening, and we're back to our shenanigans. Welcome to the GSFE Admins Podcast, the podcast by and for GSFE Admins. My name is Lance Lennon, the Technology Director for the Eagle Grove Community School District in Eagle Grove, Iowa.
My name is Chad. Oh, I'm next, Carl. Look at the notes. Jeez, it's like we're rookies.
I
We don't know
know.
what we're doing.
This is episode 34. We should have this part down by now.
Nope.
I'm
My name
sorry. Down the bottom square.
My name is Chad Frericks. I'm the Director of Technology at Adele DeSoto Minburn.
And I am Carl Hare, Director of Delivery for Amplified IT. Chad, I'm disturbed about how long it took you to remember what school district you were at. It's been a long lockdown. Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Either that or 'tis the season for the old Apple Cart upset and all the new jobs that are out there. You never know where you might be.
That would be quite the...
I'm not going anywhere. At least till tomorrow.
I'm not going anywhere by choice. You never know what the boss may say. That's the better question. All right. So we're here. It's now June. School has officially ended for about everybody. And we're going to talk summer projects to start with. Anybody got any summer projects coming up that they're working on?
No.
No?
No.
What do you do in the summer, Carl?
I take long naps, walks along the beach, kind of snooze, hang out. Really, there's not a lot going on at Amplified IT in the summertime. I don't like getting caught in the rain, though.
Neither do I. You get wet.
Oh, boy.
Well, hello, Ace.
Hey, Ace is front and center today.
Yeah.
No, summertime at Amplified is obviously super, super busy. We're spending our summers helping schools get their summer stuff done. Spinning down Google Classroom classes, helping them archive classes, a lot of migration projects, getting schools ready for the fall. There's quite a few things coming in with GSO. A lot of schools have bought a ton of Chromebooks to get ready for distance learning.
Well, wait, Carl, what's GSO for those that might not know what that means?
That's a Google Services offer. So it's something Google is currently offering. If you buy Chromebooks, you can fill out a form and get credit toward a variety of different partners for a variety of different things. Amplified IT obviously participates in that. And we offer a lot of our tools for GSO credit.
I can't help it. Every time you say GSO, I think of the Miley Cyrus song GNO, Girls Night Out.
I don't. Never heard of that at all.
Now
Actually,
you'll have to Google it.
I know Miley Cyrus is a human, and I know her dad a little better.
Apparently twerks.
Correct. So summertime, it's all about helping schools get their projects done. One of the things we're finding is a lot of schools are still planning for a return to learning that isn't going to look like a traditional learning setup. Things that we've talked about here a bunch, and I'm assuming we'll talk about again tonight as well, is school districts trying to resume some sort of semblance of normalcy come fall, when we know that there's a significant possibility still of new cases being spiked or continued illnesses due to COVID-19 come fall. So it's a lot different. This is the first summer where I'm not chasing contractors all around. I'm not trying to make sure Chromebooks are getting refreshed and chasing vendors for delivery days and installing projectors or hanging Wi-Fi access points. It's definitely a different summer for me, that's for sure. But it's not any less busy, that's for sure, too.
That's good. Fred just popped in. He said lots of audits and kickstarts. There's Fred.
Oh, hey, Fred.
Nice to have you.
On the other hand,
free live watchers.
I, on the other hand, am chasing vendors around. So we posted a surveillance camera RFP for a district-wide camera solution. I've spent all week basically in admin meetings and chasing vendors and scheduling vendors, and those tours are lengthy because they want to see every building, and they need a babysitter. So
did you get contacted? There's a new player in the space that's been trying to contact me. I think Hummingbird. Is that? I could be off on the name.
Yes. So they did contact me, but they missed the intent to propose deadline.
Ah,
So they're like brand new. Like,
yeah. They
super
called.
new.
And,
Yeah.
Like, have you done a camera replacement? I'm like, yeah, just last year.
Yeah. Whoops.
All of them.
Just missed me. No, I had to.
Are
Tell
you
them the
looking
same
for
thing.
a completely cloud-based solution again, or to replace a regular solution? What's your thoughts there? I know it's not Google, but I'm just curious.
In my case, at least cloud-based management will be given preference in the evaluation matrix. So that's one of the high criteria. It doesn't have to be entirely cloud-based, but it has to have cloud. I'm not opposed to on-site video storage, but I want to be able to do everything I need to do with that video from the cloud. So that's where I stand on that business.
You doing any new devices this summer?
Yeah, they're being delivered tomorrow. So
Before July 1st?
in response to it's Pebble money, so you can spend it whenever. It just rolls over. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So in response to the COVID and the potentiality for fall closure of some kind, or even a hybrid, we decided that our second grade needed to be 1-to-1. So we ordered enough devices to make second grade 1-to-1, and then they have existing devices. They were 1-to-2 with a mix of iPads and Chromebooks. But those devices will be redistributed. Their second gradings get in all new Acer Spin 511s.
Ooh,
Nice.
those are the completely convertible touchscreen, right? With the dockable stylus.
Yeah, because it's second grade, we did not order the model that came with the stylus, but it does have a Wacom screen, so it's active stylus compatible. Plus, what I don't get is the stylus model is $50 more per unit, and you can buy active stylus styli. How do you say it?
Styluses. Yep, stylus. That's how I present it when I do that session. Styluses.
I like styli.
Styli. Anyway, you can buy those in bulk for way less than $50 per. So.
But they aren't branded Acer.
No, and they probably won't fit in the dock.
No.
And there's no garage.
But my next question is, how many second graders are going to put that blessed thing back in the dock anyway?
No, they're not.
It's going to be garage, as Carl calls that. Yeah.
Genuinely, I don't know I don't want to know what they're going to do with that stylus. Going to chew on it, stick it in their nose.
Spread COVID.
Yeah, you might. No. How do you sanitize the inside of a stylus dock?
Oh, the garage. If they put it in there, and then they trade stylus, even though you sanitize the styli as soon as they put it in their dock.
You're not watching me, Mr. Lennon. After they stick the stylus up their nose to pick it, then they flick it, and then stick it back in the garage.
Pick it, flick it, stick it.
Yep.
There you go.
Anyway, we did not get that.
So yours are coming in tomorrow, though.
Yes, before 9 p.m.
Did you have any delay?
Are they cable?
I hope well before that.
They're like the cable company. Sometime tomorrow.
Did you have any delay on delivery of those at all? I know that
absolutely not. So that was one of the reasons we chose this model, because I didn't want to jack around with models that were back ordered and maybe not get them before school started. So we ordered a model that was in stock.
So we're doing elementary, second, third, fourth, all Dell 3100 2-in-1s. And there was a little back order, but they've guaranteed delivery, quote unquote, guaranteed delivery, first week of July. So
nope, I don't trust Dell.
I know you don't.
Liars. A bunch of liars over there. Can't trust them at all.
Trust anybody with guaranteed delivery. Nothing.
Not now. No.
Not right now. I wouldn't.
No.
Everyone's after them, and so that's one of our reasons. And we're an Acer shop anyway. Our rest of our Chromebooks are 1-to-1. We've had really good luck with our current model as far as durability and parts availability. It has been amazing. So we're going to continue on down the Acer road. And these have world-facing cameras, which I'm excited about. The first go, we just couldn't quite afford the world-facing camera units. So I'm excited to see what the teachers and kids can do with the world-facing camera in second grade.
So are they the world facing camera on that one? Is that a 3 or a 5 megapixel, or is it better yet?
Now I'm gonna have to look, Carl, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay,
I'll look. Quick.
I know that sometimes they'll skimp on the world facing camera. Some of the vendors will.
Right.
So you flip to the world facing camera and you have kids trying to take a picture of their work, or putting something in the seesaw or something like that, and it looks like a grainy shot from an old Nokia flip phone because they're using old stock from the Nokia factory to insert their cameras.
Those are some of my favorite pictures, Carl. It's my old Nokia.
Off your old Nokia.
Just kidding.
I always liked my Kyocera. That was a little better camera.
You had a Kyocera phone?
No, I do have one sitting on my desk on my credenza.
Credenza?
Credenza.
What's a credenza?
That's a
when
fancy
you have your
thing I don't
desk
have.
here, behind you is the credenza.
Cabinet.
No,
Fancy
there's no cabinets. It's like it's another desk behind you.
Fancy words.
Table. Anyway. Desk.
Back
desk
desk.
number 2. Back desk. Back desk.
It's called a credenza.
Oh. So your Chromebooks that are coming in, Lance, are you expanding your 1-to-1 or are they replacing them?
Yeah, no. So we were 1-to-1 3 through 12, and we are upgrading. So second, third, and fourth will now be 1-to-1 on Chromebooks, and then we'll be 1-to-1 iPads for kindergarten and first grade, and our pre-K and littles will be about 2-to-1 on devices. So yeah, we're expanding the pool. So putting in about, actually it's not that many. It's only an additional, at the elementary school, an additional 50 laptops to get us to 1-to-1.
I didn't know you had a pool.
It's full of Chromebooks though.
Oh,
It's not easy to swim in.
That was a bad dad joke.
I didn't even know the word I had said.
I could tell you did not figure that out.
I didn't.
You didn't have to add too many devices.
Nope.
So then, I know here in Ames, I don't believe they sent out a calendar, and I haven't read the email completely thoroughly, but it doesn't look like we are starting any earlier than we would have normally been allowed. Are either of your districts starting earlier? What plans are being made for that?
5 days early, but they don't count towards your 180 days or hours here in Iowa. They're just kind of supplementary. It's to kind of help bring kids up to speed.
Are you supplanting teacher contract days?
We let them go early this year.
Service?
Let them out early this year, added to next year.
Whoa, they let you do that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ours crazy town. Crazy town.
But the new teachers will get additional because they didn't have years this way. So any teacher that was hired for this year will get an additional 5 days.
And the retirees just got 5 days.
Got 5 days.
And your union people let that happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious about how many schools that do start early. I mean, technically, you could start early. They might not count, but that gives you 5 days in the bank that you could take off if you need to, whether it's COVID or snow or something like that, right? Or does it literally not count at all?
They don't count
at all. Bank them?
Can't bank them.
Wow. Okay.
No, they are really just to get everybody up to snuff. So my bigger issue is, so the state universities have set their policy for first semester. UNI, Iowa State are going to be done at Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. They're starting earlier though too.
They're starting a week earlier, and in anticipation of there being another bout of this. So here's where we're going, and they're requiring at UNI and Iowa State masks on campus.
Yep.
I believe it was even in the dorms except for your dorm room and when you're eating.
Yep.
So anywhere you're on,
it would be kind of hard to eat through a mask.
Well, an effective mask.
Cut a hole in it.
Like that lady wearing
the
viral video. Have you guys seen that?
Yep.
And did you see the video where she came back with her husband?
Were they kissing with their masks then?
No. To yell at the clerk who had recorded the video.
Oh, no, I didn't see.
Take that video down.
Geniuses. But
they are.
So two of the state universities. Yeah, what's going on, Lance?
So then we look at, they're already starting to plan for what next year's going to look like, and understanding that there's a very good chance we'll see a part two. we aren't going to have
Aren't we already in some states?
we aren't going to have the luxury of saying the state's just going to forgive those days. I mean, like I said, last spring for us was spring training. It was practice time. And now I'm looking at, and we're talking about what do our teachers need to be effective online instruction. And the models I'm looking at say there's probably about 80 hours worth of training they're going to need. Where do you build that 80 hours in? This is where I wish I had a Foley board.
Crickets.
Yeah. So we're coming back early already, and we're compressing our normal beginning of the year stuff because we're coming back so early. Oh, and they canceled the state fair in Iowa.
Yeah, I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I'm saying that's just something else
But
that's saying.
Carl, the butter cow.
I hate the state fair. I absolutely hate the state fair.
I've
I
gone
hate
exactly
Adventureland.
one time.
No, I've gone twice my entire life
Lance,
to the state fair.
Wow, 80 hours sounds like a long time.
Well, that's just what I'm reading. When they're talking in terms of teacher prep, training to do effective online instruction.
Did the teacher union write that article you're reading?
I have no idea. I actually wasn't the only one. I've seen it anecdotally in others, and one article actually cited a study.
Wow.
But realistically, though, do you think schools are going to go to 100% online and not do like a hybrid of some kind where half the kids, or even start the school year with half the kids in person on Mondays, the other half at home, kind of back and forth?
We're planning for all of the above.
That's the problem. You got to plan for every possible contingency.
Yep. So from fully remote learning, which is required, to all the hybrids. We had an admin team meeting today for about 4.5 hours.
For your return to learn plan?
Yeah, doing the return to learn plan. And we have a continuum. Our communication director did a nice graphic of the continuum of fully remote to fully on site, and all of our plans in between and where they fit in this giant grid of things we've considered. So it's complex for sure.
And all revolving around, are you guys going to be leveraging all Google tools for your remote process, or are you bringing in other things? What are some things that you're doing to?
Because
we know leverage.
That's why I'm questioning that 80 hours thing. That's like someone who's never turned on a computer in my mind. This is how you turn it on. This is how you. 80 hours is a ridiculous amount of time. That's 2 full weeks.
Yes.
No, we already know how to use most of the Google tools at most of the levels. So we're going to try to focus on that, but then we're going to add things in. Some of them are Google add-ons, but things like at the lowest level, Seesaw. But we had a conversation just today. We feel like it might be nice to have a common launch pad at all levels. So parents of kids they might have a family, of 18 kids they're Catholic, at all different levels. So we want a common launch pad. We talked about it today, a common launch pad of Google Classroom, even if they're going to use Seesaw, link to that from Google Classroom. So everyone knows that we can get to what we need from here.
And so Classroom's going to be your launch pad?
We discussed it today. We haven't finalized any of this stuff yet, but
no, that's.
And I'll talk later, if we get to it later, about some of the attendance stuff that I'm working on collecting.
I think we should make sure we get to that. I think that's going to be a fun topic. But is there any deadlines in place for the state that says you need to have your plan in by date X or Y?
July 1, isn't it?
But it's a soft deadline, so you have to turn something in by July 1, but you can change it at your whim.
You have to. So July 1 basically is you're showing that you're working on it.
Yeah, you have to turn in by July 1, and then you can change it however you want.
Non-existent. They have a couple of documents, and there's just
local control.
No, it's not. So Lance,
I think our whole country's local control based on the guidance we get from
no
anywhere.
So Lance, how about there at Eagle? Are you guys looking at something different? Or are you trying to say this is how we're going to do it, or are you guys trying to plan for every possible variation?
Not every possible variation. We're looking at basically either, like you said, half the kids here, half the kids at home. So some kind of hybrid of in-person and online and fully online. We had our first meeting Monday on the return to learn, and they are building out building level, and actually even smaller than that. They're doing like at the elementary K1, 2, and then K1, pre-K, K1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. So to kind of really start working on it. And at this point, my job is just to support everybody and work with them in terms of what would be the best possible technology solutions to fit in with what they want to do. And so I'm really kind of trying to steer people to the tools we know, the tools we use. I've been a proponent of Classroom the whole time in just common launch space. This is where we reside. Why not go ahead and make it a common thing?
Mm-hmm. So what are some things that are roadblocks into adopting some of those Google tools? And so we had this conversation about stay in your lane at our last podcast, right? So go with the tools you know. If your school's been using Zoom, stay with Zoom. If your school knows Google, use Classroom, use Meet. Don't try to, oh man, we got to go to Canvas or we got to go to Blackboard. You saw Meet scramble very quickly and update and make upgrades very fast to be responsive to this new sort of education model where we have kids at home trying to manage Classroom and that sort of stuff that way. What are some things that are missing? Are there things that are missing?
So one thing I wish Meet had was the ability to record only the originator, but still have live interaction, if you follow me here. So just imagine a teacher having a live session with students. We don't want the students' comments, nor faces, nor anything student related being recorded in that context. But we would like the teacher to be able to say, pretty much like you're presenting. So imagine just recording the presenter at a presentation, and then if a student asks a question, it doesn't record that part, but the teacher could say, the question was, are dogs purple? The answer is, well, yes, all dogs are purple, but only recording the teacher. So then that live session video, because we feel there's a benefit to live interaction with students rather than a fully just recorded lesson. Mm-hmm. It keeps it more dynamic. Obviously, it's not one way. There's at least some back and forth, but we want to post just the teacher's side of it and only that audio. So if there's one thing missing that I wish it had, it would be that. There's ways around it, and you can, just do the live broadcast and have students ask questions in different ways. Either if you're using a Google slideshow, use the audience participation tools and they can ask questions even anonymously. I mean, there's ways around it. Yep. But it would be so much easier if they would have just that recording feature. And we talked about that at length today. But
do you think that would be that hard to develop?
I don't think so. They're just recording one feed. I mean, it's already going one way. Just record it.
Yeah, but don't you think?
Because the recording doesn't happen on the teacher's machine. It happens on the Meet.
Yep, it does. So only pipe one feed in. They're all feeds, feeding them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yep. I didn't develop Meet. I don't know how the recording works on the back end. So I'm not sure how they manage that.
I hear you. I'm not
on it.
Yeah, just all them Google people that are listening in. Chad has a suggestion.
Lance, how about on your side? Are there pieces missing that
our biggest concern is not necessarily the pieces that are missing. We kind of feel with the stuff we have, more training to get them more proficient or to get them more effective. It's our littles in that distance ed is so antithetical to what we consider primary, lower primary education to be. It's kind of like I said, it's like learning how to swim online. Sheldon said he learned how to swim online, but how well does that work? It's like tying their shoes and learning how to stand in line and understanding how to share. I mean, the everything that you normally teach your PK and kindergartners and even first graders is not super conducive to an online setting. I don't know.
And we talked about that too. And we're not. It's with the lowest levels. You're not necessarily doing. There's obviously going to need to be some parental or supervisor, guardian type involvement at especially the smallest levels, and you're not necessarily. It's a lot more direct instruction at that level, obviously. Mm-hmm. So it does make it harder, but there's ways to do it, and you have to do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah, our biggest concern is how do you offer all your other services, your special ed services, your ELL services, how do you provide that, and in any type of quality manner? How do you provide that without, I guess, having the ability to work directly with the student? I don't know that anybody's going to have all the great answers, and there's nothing out there that is this one tool.
There's no manual.
But I hope. Yeah. But I truly hope, and I just brought this up last time. I truly hope people try to seize this opportunity and show what learning could be like, instead of just phoning it in. I heard about one district's return to learn plan today, and my head about exploded because they're totally just phoning it in and not focusing on the learning. They're focused on the logistics and how they can get kids on site because they felt they absolutely could not pull off remote learning. So it's that type of mentality that I hope isn't pervasive. I hope that's a one-off, but man, you should have. I wish we would have recorded that meeting because we could have played back my face when that was described to me because I was not happy. Because I truly believe that if people put a little bit of effort in, we can make this pretty damn good.
I just like when we said this last time too, and I agree. I think this could be such a systemic change to how education is viewed. I love the concept of a come and go high school.
Yes, and we had great discussion today in our admin during our return to learn meeting. But even our teachers, we have our admin meetings, and the admins go back and talk to their leadership teams and all the teachers maybe. And there are just people that are stuck. They're trying to recreate an in-person learning environment in an online fashion. And I just kept repeating, that is not possible. You cannot do that. It's different.
No, you've got to.
Treat it for what it is. Don't try to recreate in person this way. One, it's not going to work because it's not the same. And two, this way could be better. This way could be better.
So much better. And I've said since the beginning of this is I'm excited for the changes it can bring, and I'm scared for the people that any failure along the way, any stumble along the way is going to be proof to them that it can't work. And that's ridiculous because, education isn't what it is today without having stumbles along the way. So yeah, I'm with you on that one, Jed. And even I think it could be perfect. Like I've always said for the middle schoolers, those kids whose biological clocks tell them they shouldn't be up, at 7 a.m. anyway. Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with asynchronous learning as long as you do the learning?
But it's such a different way to think about things. And again, this is the relatively similar conversation that we had at our last podcast, right? We had whatever. That's a great conversation, but there's this belief that you have to have your butt in a chair to learn, right? Just like how many employers were under the impression that you had to have your butt in your office
to work.
get work done, and now their hand was forced, and they're finding that for not everybody has transitioned well to work at home. Some folks just don't handle it very well, and I understand that. But for the most part, there's tons of anecdotal evidence that employees are happier, they're more efficient, they're getting more accomplished, and they are, in some cases, even getting a better work-life balance. Now, that's something I've always struggled with, whether I was at home or in the office. But they're getting a better work-life balance now that they've switched to at-home learning. You can go downstairs, have lunch away from work, or go somewhere else and have lunch somewhere else in your house, or talk with your family or whoever you're living with in your house.
And if you got a doctor's appointment or something you have to do during the middle of the day and you want to work a little later, do that. As long as, it's, results-oriented work and working from home.
I mean,
correct, but that's such a huge mind shift, though. And now our hands have been forced. So we have to think about it for learning. And we're having to force the conversations that have been tried. I rarely give the state credit for anything. Okay. But I'm going to give a little bit of credit that for the last few years, they've been really pushing to get down to what are the essential things that our kids need to learn in order to be successful after school. So now we genuinely have to have those conversations. What are the things that our kids have to learn? Okay. What are they? What are the bare minimum? You know what? We might not be able to do Mr. Hare's pet project, social studies research project, because we have less time to get things in. These are the things that really matter. How are we going to convey that learning in a situation where I might not have the same set of kids in front of me every single day or at the same time every single day? And so I'm in total agreement with you guys that I hope that this is a watershed moment, a chance to actually make some change. But I know that there are going to be some schools, just like you pointed out, Chad, that are going to force this traditional model in a non-traditional setting. And you see that there's a number of states that have, nope, it's 8:00. You need to be in and you need to be signed in and you do what you need to do. And it spun this whole cottage industry where there was a website where you could go and you could pay a guy to put a bot in your Zoom class.
Yes.
And had it set up so you didn't have to actually be there. And then they were developing, what was the thing they're developing? A video loop or something to where it actually made it look like you were more than just.
Yeah, you would nod and no. And it totally might not make sense for what they're saying, but you were moving, so it wasn't just a static picture, because that's what some people started, right? They would just literally tape a static photo of themselves in front of the webcam and then go do something else.
Yeah.
Because really, if it's a lecture or a class of 80 kids, how are you going to tell? Because the pictures are like this big, even in grid view.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that'll actually roll in. I'm tired of talking about that. So let's roll into. It's a good segue to what I was going to talk about last. Actually, was the remote learning attendance issue. So I started work on that, and I got some maybe crazy ideas, maybe some good ideas, but I've done a proof of concept on meet attendance by minute, and then obviously it calculates into hours. So Google offers some great APIs. So I just wrote some Google Apps script that my teacher pulls. It's pretty fun to watch, actually. I'm kind of a nerd, but it is fun to watch. So what it does is it pulls. So I set a date range. Obviously, you don't want to take attendance for all time. So you set a date range, but then it pulls all the meets that teacher has been in during that time frame and puts it across the top. I dump it to a sheet because then we can have a visual, right? I could dump it to a database. I could dump it wherever I want and do a visualization. Yeah, this is just proof of concept, right? So I'm just dumping it to a sheet. I could dump it wherever I want. So it puts the meet codes across the top, and then along the left is that teacher's roster. And then what it does is checks how many minutes the kid was in that meet. If none of the kids were in that meet, it deletes that meet from the list and then checks the next one, and it flies through. So it's kind of fun to watch. It deletes the meets and then it goes across. So when you say it puts the meet name up top, you talking the code. Okay. So does it put a timestamp so they know which meet that was, or do they have to remember which meet was which? Well, I could. This is still early stages, proof of
Okay.
concept.
Okay.
It would be easy to. So the trick is, though, if it's a recurring meet, you could do a origination timestamp and then last event timestamp. Because if it's a recurring meet, so it keeps the same code, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So you'd have to play with that a little bit. But yeah, it works pretty slick. The next thing I'm working on is because you can't just. We're actually not counting live meet sessions in our model as attendance. We're going to look at attendance on assignment submission. So the proof of concept I'm working on now is gathering those metrics from Classroom. If Classroom is our home base, even if it's just a weekly check-in, a check for understanding, if it's a longer project, we're imagining a weekly sort of check. So as long as it's turned in and marked okay, they get attendance credit. So I'm pulling all that information from the Classroom APIs. So there's there's a coursework API
So once again,
call.
it's kind of that whole concept that if you get the idea or the concept in 5 minutes, you don't have to sit there for 60.
Yes. God, I
and you
went
can still
off
get
today in my
attendance credit.
meeting about that.
Yeah.
And then some kids are going to need extra help, so they're going to
Yeah.
have to come to office hours. Who gives how long it takes you to get it? As long as you get it,
Yep.
it doesn't matter.
So
Time. Carnegie freaking units were the stupidest invention ever. If I could go back in time and take one guy out, I think it would be that guy, because he ruined education.
So you're not being given direction from the state on what attendance needs to equal.
Local
No.
control.
They just say
Carl.
you need to take attendance.
Yes, it's required, so you have to have some sort of attendance metric, but it's local control.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you could just say everyone's attending. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing we've looked at is what.
There are some rules. I think if it gets to 10% or something, you have to tell the state. There are some rules, so you have to have some sort of metric. But if absenteeism gets to 10%, you're supposed to inform somebody. I pay about this much attention when it comes to the rules.
Don't you send that information to the truancy officer?
Yeah, right. Because all the cops are tracking down truancy offenders all over the state, right? That's like their main job.
Yeah.
So if you're going to take attendance by regular submission of something, playing around with meet attendance was just proof of concept because you're a giant nerd?
No,
or are you worried that's going to be important?
We're going to still track all that. We're going to track multiple metrics to make sure kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay.
But plus it's interesting data. I mean, just the demo class I was pulling stuff from, the amount of time they spent with the teacher online there was such a vast variance. So apparently some kids need a lot of extra help and some kids need about this much.
So how are you connecting that Carl watched Mr. Lennon's class in Meet and it's to Carl Hare in column A, row 7? Because in the Meet log, in the Meet quality tool, usernames are obfuscated in many places, or maybe that's just external where they're obfuscated. Internal, they're there by email address.
Right.
So then are you parsing, or are you doing a match for name and email, or do you just have email in column A?
Email.
Okay.
I pull their name. Email's in column C.
Okay.
Because I pull the roster from the Classroom API, not the Meet API.
Okay. Because
So
the only other Meet attendance tool I've seen is an extension that works in Meet, and it's a function. It gives an additional function to Meet, where the teacher can take attendance right in the class.
The attendance Meet
that's
add-on or whatever.
manual.
Yeah.
The teacher has to go up
this
and
is
actually.
all automated on the backside. The teacher won't even have to do a thing. I just say go and it goes.
It's past tense though, based on when that information makes it into the log, which is a slight delay. but you'd have to be running it on a regular basis, right? Or are you going to run it once a day?
Teachers don't take attendance live when they're on site. So what's the difference with what I'm doing?
Because they're supposed to. They're supposed to take attendance at the beginning of every period.
We all three know better, and whoever's listening knows better.
We have 5 listeners, just so you're aware. We got 5 people watching.
Ooh, nice.
Feel free to say hi. We'd love to know who you are.
So I need to give Fred a shout out. Fred's another guy from Amplified IT on the service delivery team, runs audits and actually listened to the podcast well before coming to Amplified IT. So way to go, Fred.
We don't know that he's still there, and we just lost 2. So we scared him away.
I offended the teachers that were online.
Yeah, they're gone.
Saying they don't take attendance.
So your attendance is they're both app script calling APIs into sheets that you're going to then visualize in some way.
I'm actually probably if this is how we want to do it. Again, this is just proof of concept. Took me an hour or 2 to do this piece. So if we're really going to do it, I'd probably dump it to a true database and then pull that into a data studio to visualize it more readily. But that's just 2 of them. We're going to pull some other stuff. I would really like to pull some sort of Chromebook usage metrics, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. I wish GoGuardian had an API, because I'd really like to pull something. Time on classroom is something that I would really like to do. Like if a kid's in Google Classroom doing something in there, I'd like to know that. Or if they're watching a particular YouTube video for a certain amount of time, I would like to know that. And GoGuardian pulls that stuff, but I can't get that.
Yeah, they don't have the API. They don't give you access. That would be nice if you could actually get that.
Right. So if anyone's at GoGuardian listening, I would like to be able to pull that data.
Bog's listening, and he's not with GoGuardian, and he's with Boone.
Yeah, I see.
Fred's there. Michael Rice.
So
he just says, "Hey guys."
If GoGuardian wants to offer an API, that would be super cool for nerds like me that want to pull all that data into a single visualization.
Because refresh my memory on GoGuardian. Does that information exist currently in GoGuardian?
Yeah,
they have access to where you were at, how long you were there. If any pop-ups came out of it. I mean, they have quite a bit on their back end that you can pull up into your reports. But what he's saying is, can I pull that data into my own subset
without having to do the stupid CSV export that they do? It takes 18 days if the log's long enough. It seriously takes forever.
Could you? No, you couldn't do it that way either. No,
I
that's
could write my own. I could write my own extension that dumps it live to a database. That would be fun. I'm not sure I want to put that much effort into that, but we'll see. I don't know. Depends on how our admin team, wants to pull attendance. And right now, we're leaning towards we're going to focus on the learning. And as long as they do that weekly check for learning and put an effort into it, they're going to be marked as attending. Which that's easy to pull.
Yep. So then let's say I don't do this week's assignment, do I get 5 days absent?
Right. So we're discussing how that's all going to work.
Okay.
And it might not be a weekly minimum, if that makes sense. There could be more checks for understanding that count towards attendance for the week.
Okay. And have you had any concern about any API caps in either of those things?
Yeah, I ran into one when I was testing stuff the other day. It just made it slower.
Classroom or Meet?
Meet ones.
Okay.
Because I had a bug, and so I kept running. Right. So then it started slowing down. I'm like, oh, damn it. So I took a break for a couple hours, and then it was back.
Okay.
And you can request more. I mean, we're education, so we just send a request in and get unlimited. So I don't have classroom caps, because do you remember, Carl, the last time I was jacking with Classroom API, it kept slowing down? I was provisioning all those classrooms through GAM. So I have like an astronomical limit. The support person that got my case set it to like millions because I told her what I was doing. So she Yeah, she jacked me up. So I don't run into the classroom ones, but it was the Meet ones I started running into. So all I got to do is put a request in and they up it.
Mhm.
I don't have to pay for it like you commercial people do.
Yeah, I do. I continue to expect to see, Meet is going to get some more improvements as the time goes on. Google continues to be responsive to educators and what they're looking for in tools. But that's awesome. That's an awesome way to do it. And that would be, Chad, I know you're never shy of sharing things. That would be super awesome to share if you get it to worked out and how it worked and that sort of stuff. Because I know there's gobs of schools that are looking for that sort of thing. Now, one of the things that locks it in and decreases the number of people interested in it, though, is they have to think about attendance in the same way you guys think about attendance. It's not your attendance metric isn't going to work for any state that says show up, log in at 8:00 in the morning in your school uniform, looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and don't turn off your computer until 3:30.
Well, the Meet one would.
It could. Yep.
The Meet portion of that could. That's why I want to pull in multiple metrics. And that's why I would really like the time on site.
Auto-populate your student information system in attendance so that you can do your state reporting.
I could. I mean, you can. I already write. Oop. Am I supposed to say that?
Not out loud, probably.
You don't do that. Nope.
I do, though. They already know. They said if it causes any issues, that they would charge me extra. We're an infinite campus district, so I read and write from our database already from
Just
Google
throw it out
Apps Script. It's not impossible. It's pretty easy actually. You just have a JDBC connection and read and write at your whim.
Yeah. Until they take away your JDBC connection, they say no more for you.
It's my data. I don't know that they can. Maybe they could.
This isn't Badmouth Infinite Campus night. We'll leave that for another night. Awesome. No, that's really cool. Lance,
yeah, it's fun.
What new things do you know about?
All right. So one thing that is coming up and will affect not so much the podcast, but the Google Plus community is we'll be moving to Currents. Kim Nilsson's he's one of the moderators of the GSFE admins community. He has been beta testing Currents and actually had put up, I'm going to share my screen real quick here and put up the statistics. So with Currents, just like we're talking about being able to pull in information, is we'll get more information on the community. Really kind of interesting stuff to see what happened within that last month. We average about one new user a day. Of the 5,500 members in there, we only have about 400 who are active people. So
a lot of lurkers.
But I've always said it takes all kinds, and you've got to have the people that ask the question, answer the questions, and those that just sit and get, and that's perfectly fine because it's serving a purpose for them too. But always been happy with the community. But yeah, you just kind of go through, and so it'll automatically convert over to there. So it should not, from what they've told me, it should not be a matter of having to recreate it and rejoin. You'll just be in Currents instead of Google Plus anymore. So kind of looking forward to that and being able to look at stuff.
It's coming in as an additional Google service, just like Google Plus was.
Yep.
So it's going to have its own TNS. I'm not sure what the age. I haven't seen the new terms and services, so I don't know what the age is on it. I'm assuming it's going to be 13 plus.
Yeah, but it's not automatic. If you have Google Plus on, this is not automatically on. So it's not like it's just going to switch. You have to actually go in manually, turn it on. But I think your stuff will still be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So even if your domain doesn't turn it on right away, it's not like your memberships will go away or your posts. So excited about that. That's my big what's new.
From a functional perspective, it's not a whole lot different. It's a little bit of a spit polish. It's blue instead of green or red or whatever Google Plus is. But I love every time I hear somebody talk about Currents, I always think about Google Wave.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's probably the Wave team just renamed. What other water thing can we call ourselves? It's like those guys on the roof of in Silicon Valley. They got their project got cut, but they didn't get fired, so they just hang out on the roof. And they came up with currents.
Currents. I guess I think of like electrical current. Same process, same concept, waves.
But I even see the logo. So on the screenshot that you showed, the currents in the top left, that logo looks like a wave to me. And maybe it's my subliminal mind telling me I need to go find a beach somewhere. But yeah, every time I see it
not in Florida, Carl.
I see it from like an oscilloscope. So yes, it's a wave, but I see it more of a digital rather than natural.
Okay.
And I don't know what that would be. Is that a sine wave?
You guys are kind of like the guys on the roof right now. Silicon Valley.
Hey, there's a lot of thought that probably went into it, both the name and the.
You're probably right.
They got all the time in the world on the roof to think about this stuff.
So something new that was announced this week in June that wasn't really new because it was announced and then it was unannounced and then it was announced only for public Gmail or public G Suite, and now it's announced for EDU G Suite is autocomplete and Smart Compose. Chad, you and I got on our soapboxes when this first came out, where not sure why anybody would want to have controls over this or why would they want to take away. Google's even branding it as assistive learning, as an assistive learning tool. And so it's coming to G Suite EDU. There are no admin controls for it right now, so you can't turn it off. But rain on your parade, in the announcement, it said controls will be coming sometime in the 2021 school year. So I don't know.
Kim Nielsen for that.
Well, I will also admit
but I'm blaming him. I don't
Why?
Because he was wanting them.
Oh yeah.
He talked. He went on a whole. He had a really, I guess, an opposing post to him.
He did not originally. He was on the we need controls before they release stuff.
He's going to listen to this probably tomorrow morning or morning his time. And
well, that's fine because I read his original post when this first came out.
I'm saying I thought he had an additional post in which he may have had. He may have heard you and had a change.
Yeah, maybe he did.
No, not Kim. Not Kim.
Nope, I'm not.
Yeah. I think Kim is willing to learn.
The thing with those tools, right, is there were a lot of admins that freaked out because they're like, oh, now we can't give tests on Chromebooks. We can't do this, that, or the other thing. And I don't want to get back on my soapbox again. But there was quite a few folks that were pretty fired up about it, that not having admin controls. And so the fact that Google's bringing it anyway now, I mean, they literally stopped. It was all of the documentation said it was coming out, and it was before COVID went crazy.
Yeah.
And yep, it's coming. And then on launch day, they expunged everything to do with G Suite for EDU. And now in this most recent blog post, they put it back on there, but again, with admin controls forthcoming in the 2021 school year, whatever that means. But yeah, there's June 1st. It's Google Docs assistive writing features coming to G Suite for education and nonprofits is literally the title of it. And I genuinely believe that's how it should be looked at as an assistive writing tool and embrace that sucker. Right. So definitely something new and exciting to be paying attention to. If nothing else, letting your teachers know that it's going to be there and that the kids are going to have access to it. For sure. Very, very important. Other new stuff coming out. I got some more stuff I could talk about, but what are some other things that are on your lists, guys?
Mr. Lennon.
Well, the other post that came out was I'm sorry, I was trying to answer an email also.
How dare you work?
I know. Admin role assignments and not having to go in and go through them. They actually are going to, if you go to the G Suite updates blog, they had a nice post on the new admin council improvements. And one of the things that they have is the easier to manage your admin role assignments. You'll be able to actually do it directly from the user interface rather than having to go into the admin roles. Again, I think they've done a very nice job of bringing the number of panes you have to go to, PANES, on the admin council.
No, I think the other one fits.
I don't think it's as painful as some people seem to think. I think they've really done a nice job of consolidating where things are. Now your search tool is not as good, but
But you guys never use the search anyway.
I did after you guilted me into doing it.
I actually used it when you were
Why
using
would you drill down to anything? You go like this, and there it is. But now they keep breaking it anyway with new stuff. But with that announcement, did they make a new role in e-discovery or Vault that is just view only? I've wanted that forever.
No, not that I read.
The answer is no. They haven't done that yet. Because you have to give them all those permissions even to access a case, or what do they call that?
A matter.
A matter. That's right, a matter. That wasn't popping in my head.
Yeah.
I just want to view stuff, not be able to manage crap. I don't know why that's not in there. That seems to just be a very apparent thing that people would need in a tool like that. I need to be able to let people look at this email log. No, you need to give them rights to build their own matters and delete your matters. And
so a wise presenter that I listened to one time at the Midwest Google Summit told me that in the bottom right-hand corner is a feedback button. Click on it. Send feedback to Google.
I have already.
One other new update that came out is Google's tweaked 2FA. Again, a very topic near and dear to our hearts here at the GAF Admin Podcast.
No, we don't
GSFE
like
Admin
two-factor at all. It's a pain in the butt.
Some tweaks are coming, are being launched to help make that a little bit better. One thing that I know a lot of people have asked for, and again, Chad got kind of fired up about it before we went live, but you have the ability to turn off two-factor for certain OUs. So you can enforce or not enforce. We already have that, right? But now you can say, staff, you have the option to have two-factor, but students, you do not have the option to two-factor. Now, there are pros and cons to that. Chad, would you like to speak to the cons of disallowing your students from having access to two-factor?
Why would you disallow someone from being more secure? That is just good I'm blank. It's
digital citizenship.
Digital citizenship. It's just good digital citizenship to use two-factor authentication wherever it's offered. Use it. Why would you take that away from a kid? You should be preaching it.
So the argument would be, and I'm not saying I'm in agreement with the argument.
You're being devil's advocate. I get it.
Is that they would not be able to log in as said student to have access to their stuff if two-factor is turned on, if they don't have access to their two-factor authentication method.
Yes, you do. You move them out. You move them out of the OU that has it. Then it's no longer enabled. And then you log in as them. And
actually, you can from the admin pane. You can also get into their two-factor and get the one-time access.
Get a code.
Yes. Yeah, you wouldn't even have to move it. I made it too hard. So that's a stupid ass argument.
And on that bombshell, we are coming up on the end of our hour. Are there any other hot topics you guys wanted to try to address? I know that there are actually quite a few things here at the end of the school year that Google's dropping. I expect to see some more coming up here the next time we get together as well.
Yeah, I mean, they usually drop a bunch of stuff at ISTE, or they announce certain things at ISTE, which
ISTE's not happening.
They don't have that window now. So I'm hoping for more of maybe a slow roll as things get ready or finished, but I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work this year. So, I mean, they obviously drop some education stuff like right now. So hopefully it continues through the summer. I'm excited to see what they further announce.
Just keep looking at their update blogs.
And I subscribe to that.
Yep. Having the calendar links on your Google Calendar is one that I always do as well. Because then I can keep track of what's going on. And then if something's going to impact me or my staff, I can reach out to them.
Yeah.
You know, ahead of time. It's hard enough. It's hard enough to stay on top of things. If you specifically ignore the one or two really good ways that Google reaches out to tell us what's going on, then complaining that you're behind is really kind of on you at that point.
What? The complainers are the same ones who don't use two-factor. That's my theory.
Oh, good deal.
They don't like change, so let's live in the Google ecosystem because
there you go.
Change never happens here.
Nope, always the same status quo.
I can tell you though, the older I get, more curmudgeon-y I do become.
Old man shakes fist at cloud.
Yeah, sometimes
There goes
I
Lance
find
using
myself-
those big words again. Curmudgery?
curmudgeon-
What was the word he used earlier?
Curmudgeon.
Ottoman?
No, at the
Armoire? Yeah, see, now he can't remember. He uses these big words. Credenza.
Oh,
That's right.
credenza.
Oh, okay. So Bog said, talk more about how you give
Oh.
pre-K students at Tech they don't know how to use
Oh.
if they don't come back to school. There you go.
So how do you train a pre-K student or a kindergarten student that are brand new to your district?
How to use Tech when you're giving them Tech and you don't have school to teach them how to use the Tech.
Have you ever given a preschooler a digital device? So let's say an iPad or a phone. What happens?
They play with it.
It takes them about 30 seconds to get in and use it efficiently. It's just what they. I mean, if they've seen a phone, how many?
You're making some pretty big assumptions.
I am. I know there's downs to that, but he said how to teach them. Well, hopefully they would have. I mean, that goes back to teaching them at home at all. There's going to have to be guardian involvement, right? Hopefully the guardian would be able to figure out a device that we gave them.
Yeah, and then how do they do curricular things after that? That Bog might be the $50,000 question.
Yeah, because again, another one of those assumptions in there, Chad, is that there is some guardian that is active and engaged and able to be a part of it too.
But that's going to be that's not just a digital issue. If we sent home a paper packet and a pencil, that's going to be an issue. We can't solve that right now.
Correct. Right. Because a preschool student's not going to know how to use a pencil right anyway.
Nope.
Theoretically.
It's not a tech
or
issue.
A crayon or whatever.
That part of the issue is not a tech issue.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be put in your lap because it will involve technology. And you know that and I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to give the same argument.
Yeah.
The same argument I just gave.
I understand you're going to give that argument.
One, you give a 2-year-old a phone and they're going to figure out how to get to YouTube and watch My Little Pony. Or whatever they watch now. I don't know.
Probably not My Little Pony anymore, but it's okay. You may have just dated yourself a little bit there.
I don't know. What do 2-year-olds watch now? I don't have a 2-year-old anymore.
Paw Patrol? Is Paw Patrol a thing?
Oh, yeah. You see that over.
They still watch that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's not Little Einsteins anymore.
Andy Man. Oh, I love Little Einsteins. Phineas and Ferb isn't anymore.
Andy Manny.
Really...
I need
Andy
a tool.
Manny.
I'm a tool.
I'm a tool.
Wow. This is what we're going to end on tonight. Okay. That's too perfect. All right, kids. It is time to go. So look for us next month. We're going to keep doing these about once a month and probably get on some of the same soapbox, but we'll try to present what's new, what's out there, what's coming your way. So thanks for listening in and have a great month.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Ace says bye.